What's going on, guys? I'm Jay the Black. Shout out to everyone that's tuning in. I want to talk about a video that was sent to me. Now, I'm on Twitter right now because I first saw this video that was sent to me through IG. And I was like, okay, you know, another Russell Wilson conversation. Even though I've spoken about Russell Wilson, I'm not obsessed with Russell Wilson. I don't think he's a bad person. He's been in a relationship, a marriage with Ciara for a while. I hope, for his sake, it works out, and hers. But I get on Twitter, and what do I see? Not even 24 hours later, this clip from the Pivot podcast is trending all over Twitter, man. I mean, this thing went viral fast, because I first saw the clip last night. And already it's all over Twitter, man. People are upset. They're emotional. And one of the things that kind of surprised me was the amount of dudes. Now, we can surmise, if the dudes were, what community they were brought up. But, they were angry. Some of these dudes were angry. You know what I'm saying? Just like the women were. And they were talking about how, we tell women to look for a good man. We tell women to, look for better. And then we criticize Russell Wilson. Let me say this about Russell Wilson, okay? Russell Wilson has been able to find a woman that he wants to settle down with, which is fine. He's been able to find somebody that wanted to be with him. And, he wanted to be with her. And it seemed like the marriage was built on foundations. Now, we're starting to see changes in that marriage, but nonetheless, he has found somebody for him. She's found somebody for herself. And I said this about Ciara. I said that she was able to fix a mistake she made. She realized that having a child by Future was a mistake. And when they broke up, she did not want to be a single mother. Now, I don't think she feels her child is a mistake. That whole sequence of wanting to have a family with Future was a mistake. And when she left that situation, she was going to make sure that she got with somebody that wanted the same things that she did. That was Russell. Now, Russell, he dressed differently. Socially, he was a little bit different before he got with Ciara. And Ciara has helped change a lot of different aspects of him. And they've been able to come together and build like a family brand with each other, which helps both of them. I think it helps her than him, because he's already doing good as far as being an NFL player and being able to market himself. But being a family man has helped maximize his branding opportunities. And and the one thing I find to be very funny, though, is that the women that are defending Ciara would never, and I mean never, get with Russell Wilson unless he was famous with money. Let's be real about this. And Channing Chrowder brought this up on the Pivot podcast. Let me say this about the Pivot podcast. This is my second video response to the Pivot podcast, man. The second response in about less than a month, right? So the Pivot podcast is doing something right. And I think having Channing on their podcast is probably is probably what's making it right, and what's going to push them forward. But this is like the second response I've done to the Pivot podcast. So let's get into the Pivot podcast, and let's get into what they had to say, or what Channing had to say about Russell Wilson.
Russell and Ciara. Yeah, if Russell ain't had that bread, Ciara ain't gonna be with him. Russell square. Russell square. Russell square. Ciara she has a good situation, but you gonna leave Future and get with Russell Wilson.
The thing is, I will say this though, in the black community, we stereotype each other. And let's be real about this. If Russell wasn't successful and famous, Ciara would never look in his direction, whether Ciara was famous or not. Guys like Russell Wilson end up having to date outside their race. Let's be real about this. A lot of you melanated women know what I say is true. Y'all don't check for the good guy, the nice guy, right? Y'all check for them when you're older and you're looking to settle down after you've been ran through. All right?
I think that's where
you
you're wrong.
You don't leave Future and get Russell Wilson. Like, it's a type. Listen, bro, everybody got a type.
Yeah, that's true.
Everybody has a type. You gonna leave Future and get with Russell Wilson?
See, that's again, we stereotype each other. I think when you grow up in a black community, you know what the women like. That's why I have seen guys go from being a little bit more square to being more thug. They start dressing a little bit more like they in these streets. They start acting a little more. They start growing their hair out in dreads because they think that that's what the girls like. Let's be real. That's what goes on. Unless you from like suburb, but that stuff go in the suburbs too. You got dudes from the suburbs who act like they from the hood. We stereotype each other. I think black men get the worst end of the stereotyping because, depending on how we are, depending on if we're going to get attraction from girls. That's why you're seeing more black men date outside their race because they're not getting play from black girls. And we can't say, well, you're not getting the girls you want. What, you want them to get a very hyper unattractive female that's out of shape? Maybe they just want an average decent looking girl. Can't even get that. Cause she too busy chasing behind some dude don't even want her. He out here with baby mamas and he running the streets and doing all that. That's why these guys date out. And a lot of times they don't come back. Russell came back. Russell came back to the sisters, man.
So when he's so goddamn square, and I love him on the field. He's a square.
Channing.
He's a king square.
Channing, you go from this level of toxicity, you just want something stable. You want the guy that was sitting with that girl with that big old mouth at the draft that was laughing, and you knew she deserved to be with him.
Goofball.
Yeah.
By the way, I believe that female cheated on Russell with his teammate. So he made a good decision not to deal with her. And she was definitely there for the ride. But you you definitely want peace. You definitely want somebody that's going to bring that to you. Maybe Russell brings that to her. But we have seen situations where women get healed. Women get, that peace, quote unquote, and then they end up leaving for somebody else. I mean, look at Megan Good. Megan Good was with a pastor who was healing her just for her to get divorced by him. And now allegedly she's dating some goofy non-melanated battle rapper. I don't even know much of. You know what I'm saying? Allegedly. So we can heal these women, but these women have to want the consistent healing because there are women that are going to get bored with the whole domesticated family life, being the good wife and the good mom. That's why you're starting to see Ciara show more of her personality. She's out here twerking on beaches, topless. Like I said, we're going to see what happens moving forward.
You want that guy.
You want to get with goofballs,
You want the guy that told me, you know what? I was praying and God told me to go save her. That's what the man told me to my face. But even with all
Russell and Ciara.
No, you don't want to save them. All right, you don't want to save them. You want them to save themselves.
Yeah, if Russell ain't had that bread, she ain't gonna be with him. Russell square. Russell square. Ciara she has a good situation, but you gonna leave Future and get with Russell Wilson.
The thing is,
I think that's where
you
you're
don't
wrong.
leave Future and get with Russell Wilson. Like, it's a type. Listen, bro, everybody got a type.
Yeah, that's true.
Everybody has a type. You gonna leave Future and get with Russell Wilson? He's so goddamn square, and I love him on the field. He's a square.
And he's right, But that, what's crazy? I think a lot of these guys are squares. They just transform themselves into what they think a lot of women want. They transform themselves into a street dude. And it really ain't that hard to do. I mean, look at the rappers y'all listen to. A lot of these guys don't live the life that they rap. So I just think that we are in a time where it's difficult for us who grew up being stereotyped being stereotyped so much by our own people that when we see a Russell Wilson with a Ciara, we raise an eyebrow. It never should be that way. Russell Wilson and Ciara being together really should not raise any eyebrows whatsoever, but in the black community, we stereotype each other, especially black men who don't look a certain way or act a certain way. They are sort of pushed to the side. They're put in the we don't want to date area. And what happens is those guys become successful and they date other races of women. And guess what happens? Those same women that didn't want them are now complaining why they're dating Becky. Well, they're dating Becky because you never wanted them until he got successful. And I think Channing in his own way was kind of saying that. Y'all didn't want this guy when he was at NC State or Wisconsin playing football and baseball, or even in high school before that. Even when he got to Seattle, he wasn't a highly drafted player. But once he became successful, won a championship, became a star, now all of a sudden he's desirable because he gets with Ciara. So all it took was Ciara giving him that credibility of desirability. How many black women wanted Russell before Ciara? A lot of these black women were shocked when she got with him too, because they never would have dated Russell. Now all of a sudden they want a man like Russell. But in your personal life, do you have a Russell? That would be no. You don't have a Russell Wilson because you're not attracted to him. No matter how much these heifers defend Ciara, none of them have a Russell Wilson. None of them. None of them have a Russell Wilson. None of them.
Channing,
he's a king square.
Channing, you go from this level of toxicity, you just want something stable. You want the guy that was sitting with that girl with that big old mouth at the draft that was laughing and you knew she deserved to be with him.
Goofball?
Yeah, you want that guy.
You want to get with Goofball's husband.
You want the guy that told me, you know what? I was praying and God told me to go save her. That's what the man told me to my face. But even with all
Russell and
yeah, so I just want to speak on this, man, but y'all let me know what y'all think. This thing is trending. It ain't even been 24 hours. Russell Wilson and Ciara conversations always tend to bring out, I would say, the caping in most, the caping from males and females. And I noticed that there's a rise in males defending Russell. I understand a lot of them, they see themselves in Russell, or you got some of these guys that, see themselves in Ciara. But let me know what y'all think in the comment section below, man. Do you think this conversation is getting played out? Do you think Channing Chrowder has a point? Like the video, share it, follow me on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, and I'll see y'all next one.